Do you still question your twin flame connection? Asking yourself, is this even real? Or is this just another repeated pattern? Another toxic relationship? Because of the lows in our twin flame connection, we can come to question whether it is real or not. But one thing you'll know for sure, obviously other than knowing in your soul this is true, is that you're continuing to improve and not deplete. That's the biggest difference. My name is Angela Cleary. I'm a feminine empowerment coach. I specialise in healing after narcissistic abuse, and I also offer twin flame and spiritual guidance. Karmic relationships are here to teach us things. They are here to help us evolve. But one thing I know about karmic relationships is that they go from bad to worse. Whereas with your twin flame connection, it goes from better to better. And that's a fact. So this is one of the ones that I suppose we can question this an awful lot. And it's not because we don't know within our souls the truth. It's just based on our level of wounding. If we're still going through the heaviness of the unworthiness wound, we can question everything. Especially if our twin flame is ghosting. But as I come to see ghosting now, it's processing. Every time we feel that rejection, every time we go through another dark night of the soul, every time we go through a heart awakening, every time we go through a level of growth, we can ask ourselves, is this real? Or am I just repeating another pattern? Is this another toxic relationship? And I think that's why we question, is because it's not easy. A twin flame connection is not easy. It's a roller coaster ride. And sometimes the behaviours of your twin flame can look unhealthy on the surface. But with any relationship, whether it be a karmic relationship or even any kind of friendship or family dynamic, we can get triggers left, right and centre. One thing I've seen with my own karmic relationships or friendships or family dynamics is that you literally go to zero. When you're in a toxic narcissistic relationship of any kind, romantic or otherwise, you will go from bad to worse. Don't get me wrong, when you end that relationship, you will start to grow from your lessons. But while you're still in that dynamic, your life will literally go from bad to worse. And that's kind of what I'll explain now for a minute. Is that's how you'll know if this is a toxic karmic cycle. Because it doesn't get better. The cycles will continue to repeat. You know, when I was in any kind of toxic relationship, my narcissistic relationship in the past, or in a family dynamic that was unhealthy, my health deteriorated. Not only did my health deteriorate, my personality disappeared. The real Angela was buried underneath the fear and the control and the codependency of the karmic partner or the karmic family member. So I went from bad to worse. My health really did deteriorate, both mental and physical. You know what I mean? I had rashes all over my face. My immune system was gone to nothing. And I was in a constant state of fear all the time. You know, and I had no courage, no ambition, no purpose, no direction in my life. And I think that's when you know that's not a good relationship. The cycle keeps repeating. Whereas in a twin flame connection, you'd still go through an awful lot of lessons. You go through an awful lot of cycles, and oftentimes the cycles do repeat as well. But every time you're still growing. And that's what I've noticed is, like, with my twin flame connection, since I met him in the physical, like, I've already been going through the spiritual awakening process. But since I met him in the physical, I've gone through many heart awakenings and many dark nights of the soul. And when you're in the depths of that despair, when you're unearthing those wounds, we can question our twin flame connection. And I have done this over the last year and a bit. Like, I've literally questioned, am I going crazy? Is this real? Is this just another karmic cycle? And then, you know, when you're in, it's like the universe does this. You're in the depths of the despair of a healing cycle. And then you come across a post online, karmic versus twin flame. And there's so many points that are similar, that high intensity, you know, that instant connection kind of energy, the lessons that are being learned. But I had to keep asking myself, what if this is just another toxic cycle? What if I'm repeating the past? What if I'm going through this all over again? And then I bring myself back down and back to the 5D side of things. And I remember how I met my twin. I remember how I felt. I remember that instant recognition. And I know what I feel like in his energy. You know what I mean? there's a big difference. Like, are you, like, you know this as an empath anyway, just spending time with regular people. This doesn't have to be any relationships. You will feel another person's energy. And you will know if that person is depleting your energy. And most of the time, your karmic will actually suck the fucking life out of you. Whether it be, as I said, romantic or otherwise, your energy will deplete completely while you're around this person. You will feel like shit all the time. You really will. Like, you will be questioning your sanity. They will constantly belittle you and put you down. And they will constantly abuse and treat you like shit. And like, that doesn't have to be all of the karmic relationships, but that's what happened for me. Whereas with my twin, I can feel his energy. I can feel the high intensity when we're together. And, that's on a soul level. That's not just the chemistry. That's how my energy or my nervous system feels around him. But also, I look at the past year, and I have transformed so immensely in the past year since meeting him. I'm on my purpose path anyway, but I continue to evolve. And even as I've gone through the deepest, darkest depths of the despair, the dark night of the soul, I have still been in it knowing that I'm better every time I come out of one of those cycles. I'm more evolved every time I come out of one of those cycles. And that's the thing, right? When we're on this awakening journey, when we're doing the healing, when we're doing that growth, you will be able to look back over the past couple of years and see a big difference in your transformation. But one thing I've noticed over the last year especially is that you can look back to yesterday and see that you're a different person. That's how quick the healing cycles are, or how transformative the healing cycles are. Who were you yesterday? You're not the same person. You've actually evolved since then. You've evolved since last week, last month, last year, or however long it's been since you've met your twin flame physically. And even so, one thing I do know about my own journey, since discovering I was a twin flame, I have been slowly but surely improving. But when I've had karmic situations in between, I have still depleted. I was striving for my purpose path, but then a toxic family dynamic brought me back down to below zero. That's how you know. And I think that's what brought me back down to the truth. Because, I've been going through those healing cycles. I've been going through that doubt. And then watching those posts online comparing the karmic with the twin flame. And I'm like, shit, what if I'm doing it again? What if this is just a repeated pattern? And then I'm like, no. Look at the difference. And I saw a picture from, I take pictures every so often to watch my growth. And, who I was last year, I don't even look the same. You know what I mean? That's another thing that you'll see, is that you don't even look the same that you did last year. You don't feel the same. I say last year because it's for me, it's been just over a year since I met my twin physically. But for any length of time that you met your twin, have you evolved? Have you grown? Or are you stuck? Now, don't get me wrong. If you're in the twin flame dynamic and you're not doing your healing and growth, your patterns will repeat. The cycles will repeat. And that's a clear lesson onto what you need to heal. So, I think that's why we're so confused with the two dynamics, is because there are similar things. So if you're not doing the growth on the journey, on your real twin flame journey, it may look like a karmic situation because, the cycles will continue to repeat. A cycle will always repeat until you break that cycle. And, I've had repeated cycles with my twin flame. And, I used to question, that's why I was questioning, is this karmic? But every cycle makes me stronger. And now I've learned how to break those cycles. I'm stronger because of them. And, I'm a more empowered version of myself because I've broken those cycles. So, if you come out of a karmic situation and your energy and your health is depleted, that's how you're going to know that it's karmic, because you've remained stuck. That's the thing. You've remained stuck and you haven't transformed out of it. Now, don't get me wrong. When you end the cycle with a karmic, you'll start your healing and you will actually transform because of it. So, you are after learning those lessons. But what I love about the truth within your twin flame journey is, no matter how hard or how low the lows are, you come out way higher than you did before. You come out way stronger than you did before. And I think that's the most beautiful part of the twin flame journey, is your evolution and your growth. And I think that's the most beautiful thing. You see, oftentimes we're in these karmic situations or relationships and we lose ourselves completely because that person is trying to steal our life force energy. That person is effectively trying to steal our personality to teach us lessons, yes. But it drains us, it removes our energy, it changes us into something that we're not. And I think that's the proof in itself that it's karmic. But when it comes to your twin, you know in your heart anyway. And like there's that saying, you know, when you know, and you do know. But if you're still going through some depths of healing, doubts can creep back in. But that's connected to your unworthiness wound. And that's very important to heal. Like, your doubts are going to alleviate as soon as you heal your wounding. It's not going to heal because of something that your twin flame did or didn't do. It's healing because of what you heal within yourself. And that's a fact. Every time you go through a round of healing, you become the best version of yourself. You evolve into who you're supposed to be. And I think that's the most beautiful part of it. You discover many aspects of yourself with any kind of connection, with any growth, or with any kind of healing. But I think the transformation you go through in your twin flame journey is something completely outside of what you've normally gone through. And it's very accelerated as well. You know what I mean? I look back on my last year and I see a roller coaster ride. And it was a roller coaster. But every time I got stronger. So much stronger. And what I love about you're supposed to be on your purpose path anyway. And what I find with karmic relationships or karmic situations is, if you're on your purpose path, the karmic relationship slows you down, prevents you from moving forward, and effectively makes you lose direction. Whereas what I find with the twin flame dynamic is, even if it feels slow, even if you're in a dark night of the soul, you're still moving forward. The ideas are still coming. Your purpose path is still forming in front of you. And I think that's one thing that we need to keep mindful of. How do you feel? Are you growing and evolving? And now this is a good question to ask yourself, whether it's karmic or twin flame. You know, because as I said, your cycles will repeat if you're not doing the healing. If you're in your twin flame dynamic and you're not doing the healing, you're going to feel stuck. And I think that's why we can doubt as well, is because we feel like we're stagnant. We feel like we're stuck. And I was feeling like that. I was like, oh my God, you know, my life is stagnant. I'm not choosing myself. I'm going nowhere. And then I kind of sat back and I was like, no, I choose myself every day. And compared to where I was yesterday, a week ago, 6 months ago, a year ago, things are moving. It might seem slow, but it only seems slow when we're in the depths of a healing cycle. And we have to measure that. And I think photos are a great way to do that. Like, or remembering back a year ago, remembering back 6 months ago. How did you feel? Even in your depths of darkness, how did you feel? How did you feel when you come out of that? Are you improving every day? Are you improving every week? Is your life starting to flow? Are things starting to become more colourful, effectively? Like, is your life starting to brighten up? Is there more abundance flowing in? Is your health better? Like, if you can say yes to all these, it means that you're on the right path and you're on a twin flame connection. But if you can say your health is depleting, your life is stuck, then you're in the wrong cycle. Either because you're in a karmic situation or because you're not doing your growth. But I'll always remember, and that's one thing I have to keep coming back to as well. How did it feel the first time you met? Was there that instant recognition? You know, even just hearing my twin flame's voice for the first time, my soul knew something. Was there that instant connection, that instant comfortable, that at ease energy? Do they can you connect with, do they answer your telepathic questions? Because that's one thing I've done with my twin is I've asked him things on the 5D and he's answered on the 3D. Does your feelings for them keep getting stronger, but not in a toxic, codependent way? That's the thing. Are you able to separate from the situation and still feel loved and whole within yourself? Are you able to get into surrender mode? Are you growing into your best self alongside the healing? Because if you're not evolving out of every situation, then this may be a karmic dynamic. But trust your situation. This is so important. Trust what you feel in your soul. And the proof is there. If you're evolving and growing, if you're becoming the best version of yourself, then this is your twin flame journey, because your twin flame connection helps you to become who you're truly meant to be. So thank you so much for listening today, and I really hope this resonates. If it does, please like and share, and please subscribe to my channel so I can reach as many people as possible. And if you'd like help on your journey, please book me for a free discovery call today, and I would love nothing more than to help you on your path. Also, I have a free webinar coming up on Friday the 12th of September at 6 p.m. Ireland UK time. I will be speaking on inner child healing, which is a very, very important part of our healing journey. If you need any information, please comment below.